I think, though, what we saw in America, what we always see in America, is that white people in general,
I just saw ICE pull up on immigrants and they shoved them into a van in broad daylight. My wife told me that ICE is here in Northern California, that they were in San Jose. They were just in broad daylight on Story Road, shoving people into vans. I had somebody in my car that I think she might have been undocumented, and she had her child with her. It was a pretty close encounter, to be honest. Whoever the person was orchestrating this, they looked into my eyes. And I was driving. They said, "Oh, move on past." I was being nosy, and I looked into the van, and I'm like, "There's a lot of Hispanic people in there, and they were all in handcuffs, and they looked like innocent." I mean, I don't know what's going on, and I don't think it was a police van. I'm thinking it is immigration. I'm thinking it is ICE, but I could be wrong. It could be just me speculating. But regardless, just try to keep your loved ones, your friends, your family safe, because it's happening.
You guys, I'm not even gonna lie. These raids happening in Bakersfield are weighing super, super heavy on me today. And unfortunately, I have experienced deportation firsthand when my parents were deported when I was, I think, 12 and 13 or 13 and 14. I don't even remember. It's been so long. And that was the hardest thing I had ever gone through in my entire life. Until this day, when I think about that little girl having to say goodbye to both of her parents, it's absolutely heartbreaking.
It's 4 a.m. I can't sleep. For the last 6 hours, I have been looking at videos to make sure I can keep my family knowledgeable enough so that they know what to say if it happens. If it happens.
A lot of people don't like coming on social crying because a lot of the time it's a "oh brother" moment, and I get it, but very up to here with immigration right now, and especially as a DACA recipient, it's just having to jump over. Sorry, here we go again.
Mi hijo estaba trabajando en una fábrica de hacer gabinetes. Yo quiero que por favor, si Carlos Espina me puede ayudar, ayuden a etiquetar a Carlos Eduardo Espina, por favor.
Is anybody else seeing these videos of these families who are being affected by these ICE raids? And as a child, not having your parent come home.
Wait. So y'all crying about them being deported, but you ain't crying about homelessness right here in your country. You ain't crying about homelessness right here in your doggone city. But you crying because somebody else from another country don't have the right to stay here. It's not getting amnesty like they used to.
Even that fundamentally makes
let's just keep on watching.
Is not living the black.
Let's just keep on watching.
Who might be living on the south side of Chicago.
Let's just keep on watching.
Freedom, I can't. That's the song that she used behind her campaign. This is what I mean by she implied.
Let's just keep on watching.
Never said. She would watch her videos, she would be like, "We're like freedom fighters." Her song, the song she used was freedom.
It's actually insulting when LeBron James posts something, and you saw this in the comments, by the way. If we could use any metric, it was the fact that LeBron James had to start hiding comments because the overwhelming majority of them were negative when he made the post. That was very propagandistic. So using things that Trump said was lying clips of the civil rights movement, maybe entirely with a sense that something was offensive level of propaganda. You have a man who lives in a $100 million Bel-Air mansion, okay? He does not touch his own door handles, okay? So when he tells you about how he's worried about the future for his children,
El colectivo Ángeles Mensajeros estamos aquí a la mitad del puente entre México y Estados Unidos para darle la bienvenida a todos los migrantes que han comenzado a ser ya deportados de Estados Unidos a México. Estamos aquí en solidaridad con ellos, sabiendo que tristemente ellos llegan a un territorio en donde el crimen organizado hace de las suyas y en donde tristemente está en acecho en contra de los migrantes. Nuestra invitación y nuestro exhorto al presidente Trump es de que respete los espacios sagrados de Dios y no se meta con las cosas de Dios. Migrantes que llegan a nuestras iglesias cristianas en territorio norteamericano necesitan ser respetados. Respeta a las autoridades, Trump, y entiende que con Dios no te debes de meter.
Here are 3 reasons your sales team will actually want to use Monday Sales CRM. First, it's so easy to use. You can see your team's
a woman is the best person to represent women. I added that part as well. So we're actually not in disagreement there. I think it's really important to look at the agenda. I have voted.
See, the problem with these things, these people, they feel entitled to stay here in your country.
That the white woman was running against him.
How do you feel entitled to stay in someone else's country? I ain't never, if this ain't the biggest version of international squatting I've ever heard. If this is not the biggest version of international squatting and telling somebody else that you can't kick me out, this is exactly what that look like. You squatting in somebody else's house and you telling them that you can't kick me out. And then you want to turn around and then talk about God and this and that and the third. God ain't got nothing to do with this. God ain't got nothing to do with this. Leave God out of this. Leave God out of this, man, sir.
Con esto del presidente Donald Trump que trancó todas las puertas, estamos todos trancados, todos, porque se nos cerró todas las puertas por todas partes. Más bien hay hasta persecuciones ahora. No te puedes mover de un lado a otro como antes lo hacía, ya no, porque te persiguen. Para llegar aquí es muy difícil. Yo le exhorto al gobierno que debería ponerse la mano en el corazón, como quien dice, y saber todos los sacrificios que hemos hecho para poder llegar hasta aquí y que colaboren con nosotros en darnos trabajo, pues, que es lo que estamos pidiendo, algo honradamente, porque tenemos niños, tenemos familias grandes, y la idea es seguir trabajando, pues, luchando, y que nos ayuden con nuestros papeles de estadía aquí, que es lo importante, pues, porque ya que no se puede pasar para allá, me imagino que uno puede seguir la vida aquí, porque México, a pesar de todo, es un buen país.
No hay manera legal hasta el momento. Sin embargo, pues ninguno de nosotros hemos perdido como la esperanza de que se consigan unas medidas legales para poder ingresar. Estamos esperando que ya sea ya una nueva aplicación, un nuevo método para poder ingresar.
Sí, está en la camioneta.
Tiene que pensar en esas personas que están en búsqueda, ¿no? O de cruzar el país o de tener una posibilidad segura en el país. Vuelvo a decir que es una situación difícil, seguramente para el gobierno gestionar todas esas situaciones, ¿no? Y mantener un equilibrio para no crear un conflicto y tampoco una crisis humanitaria, pero es necesario que hayan políticas y que busquen políticas que puedan apoyar y fortalecer la posibilidad de que ellos tengan gestiones o situaciones mejores dentro del país.
Bueno, sería todo, solo que a usted...
Yo pienso que debería haber algún otro tipo de solución, porque lo que nosotros estamos viviendo en Venezuela no es que estemos aquí por gusto, es una dictadura. Y independientemente de que nos devuelvan, lo vamos a seguir intentando.
Oye. ¡Soledad, compa! ¡Una raza! ¡Y mañana es de Estados Unidos otra vez!
I see the thing is with this, the liberals don't turn around and try to make you think like they're going after innocent people when they're really not. I think they have a catch and release program that they're using. They're basically going after the ones that were basically caught and were released back into the public. They're going after those people. Pretty much. But the Democrats will sit there and weigh in and be like, no, they're going after innocent people who wasn't even accused, families and stuff like that. Nah. That's not what they're doing. Let's not do that. Let's not play tug of war with people's hearts and people's feelings. So, honestly, I don't think none of that is going to work in the first place. Because people already saw the liberal tears coming. They already saw it. They saw it during the inauguration. We saw it during the campaign. We saw it
Trump because he's white or because he's
doing
I think that's true.
right now, and even then, just go all the way back. None of these liberals was crying when Obama was separating families during his term.
Racist people.
But now all of a sudden they years and everything. And these people, they not even separating families. They deporting families all together. They deporting families all together. But the fact that they being deported is something to cry about. They're being separated from their families. What about the children that turn around and don't have any parents? Well, what happens if a parent turns around and commits a crime? They go to jail. That's the same thing. You're not gonna cry about that, but you're gonna cry about family separation when it comes to immigration. These people are funny as I don't know what. These people be funny as I don't know what.
It's just not accurate. I just don't like when people speak about the vast minority. Why are you speaking about the vast minority when you talk about especially so for the vast majority? What do you think? What you guys think?
Taxes was weird. Now taxes. It's in terms of taxes. You can do your taxes in debit, so you can get up to $4,000 instantly. Now this is taxes into TurboTax.
Nos están casando. Está de hecho, están saliendo que lo están agarrando en iglesias, están haciendo retenes, van a empezar con San Diego y de ahí se van a pasar a Colorado. Ahorita está muy difícil la situación allá para toda la familia. Los que no tienen papeles pues están asustados, de ir a trabajar, de manejar. Y pues si no tienes transporte, entonces no vas a mandar a tu familia. Yo digo que hay unas que de verdad cometen crímenes, y hay personas que de verdad no tienen nada, tienen años viviendo allá. Y de verdad yo digo que esas personas deberían tener una oportunidad de hacer algo, no ser deportados simplemente así. La manera en que nos tratan, la manera en que nos traen es una manera muy fea.
If this stop.
Es triste por mi familia, por mi mamá, por mi papá, por mis hermanos. Tengo un hermano que está enfermo, pues no puedo ayudarlo ni apoyarlo. Hay mucha gente que de verdad necesita ayuda, nos traen amarrados, esperamos de lo peor. Pero llegando aquí a San Diego, al aeropuerto de San Diego, según ellos nos dicen que nos van a quitar las cosas porque nos hemos portado bien, y de ahí nos suben al tren. Lo que es de no el transporte, nos traen amarrados.
Over 100 people watching and not have those that many likes. And the likes up. You only over 50 likes right now, but it's still increased. It really doesn't help. Voice here for you. So please hit that like button if you haven't done so already. So
Yeah, I feel for them, but to be honest with you, this is just strictly business. Okay, this is just strictly business. We cannot take care of y'all asses. We can't even take care of our own. So why the fuck would you expect us to take care of y'all? Honestly, I feel for them. that they got to go back to their war-torn countries. But I'm sorry, this is just regular business. This is just business as usual. We got to take care of our own, and honestly, that's what we need to start focusing on: taking care of our own house, cleaning up our own house. And as far as I'm concerned, your ass don't belong here. You adding and contributing to the situation of our situation. So we got to get your ass up out of here, okay? I understand you don't want to go back, and this is the greatest country in the world. I get it, but listen, it's just strictly business. That's it. We got to focus on taking care of our own. We got to focus on making our country great again for us. And that's it. This is just strictly business. Now, wait a minute. Now, what I want to do, damn, because I'm trying to find the doggone video of liberal ass Sunny Hostin sitting there crying and boo-hooing and crying over these mass deportations. Where is she at? Where is she at?
Your mother's a citizen, but you're not. But you've never been deported before. Yeah, you got the bill. Yeah. How do you know me? I see the bill. It's on TV. Yeah. Yeah. This is an example of some sort of series that we got the sex offense involving children.
So, you know, you know, that's the video I'm trying to find. Here you go, right here.
You've been charged for sex crimes with children.
Here you go, right here.
No, really?
Sunny Hostin over here, boo-hooing and crying over mass deportations.
Let's take a process.
He's gone.
This is what was saw coming over the border. Military age men like him, and he's a criminal. He's committed crimes. You know, but the left is pushing back against it. What are your thoughts on that exchange?
Listen, he's a criminal all day, every day. He was a criminal when he jumped the border. He came here. He was lawless. He should be deported. There should be no question. In fact, listen, my border policy is this: absolutely no fighting age men from any nation should migrate to the United States.
So I think there's a very clear message as to what this president wants the look of a criminal migrant to look like, what an undocumented migrant. And I think that's racist.
Yeah, so there you have it. Sunny Hostin over here boo-hooing and crying for no doggone reason, calling out racism. trying to say that they only gonna lock up black and brown people when we literally just seen a clip of an Asian dude getting arrested and getting deported. So
What are your thoughts on that exchange? What we see going
let's go look at matter of fact, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
We have had 4 successful years.
Let's look at some more Sunny Hostin over bullshit she ain't even got to even worry about her damn self. This woman live in a 10 bedroom mansion with her convicted felon of her husband sitting here boo-hooing and crying about racism.
He wants to step it up to 15.
Sitting here boo-hooing and crying
So I'm back in 100%.
over deportations and calling out racism. Now, if y'all don't know, Sunny Hostin has been in trouble for about a minute. Just look at it. Just take a look at this real quick.
I'm so sorry. I wish I could do
And, we about to go watch Selena Gomez sit over here look dumb, crying on the doggone thing, even though after she deleted that doggone video.
She said, you heard her. She said, these are my people. Now, this woman has lived in America. I think she was born here. And I think her dad is Mexican. Her mom is white. But she was raised by her mother. She's a multi-millionaire from young. She was a child star, and now she is still a movie. She has a movie out now. And she's also a singer, multi-millionaire, and she's crying on the screen like this. I want to start with you, Soldiers of Finance. Can you show any sympathy?
If you average out the few hosts, certainly not the brightest.
If you average out the few hosts,
just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out.
All right, everyone, get ready for a story that's sending shockwaves through the media world right now. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Former First Lady Melania Trump has officially filed a high-stakes lawsuit against the hosts of The View, demanding a staggering $100 million in damages. Yes, you heard that right. $100 million.
As you may heard, I filed a few lawsuits, and I'm in the court now because they accuse me of doing stuff that I never did in my life, and they wrote lies, and I will not allow that. I will fight till the end because I don't want that they damage my reputation and my name.
I think she hates him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, so we can all
That's
agree
a
on that. I also think that she wants to take him out. She does not want to be the first lady anymore.
This legal showdown is nothing short of extraordinary.
Yep, yeah, that's Sunny Hostin sitting over here making false accusations about the first lady. The same woman that is now sitting here boo-hooing and crying, shedding some doggone tears about somebody else, about convicted felons getting kicked out of the country. Wow. Well, they ain't surprised because her husband a convicted felon. But let's go ahead and keep going.
With ripple effects already being felt across television networks, legal circles, and social media. Everyone's left asking the same burning question. What exactly happened to ignite such a...
And nope. We're not gonna forget about Selena Gomez either.
Dramatic legal battle? Well, let's take a closer look and break it all down. Here's what we know so far. The lawsuit stems from a recent episode of The View, where the hosts made a series of comments about Melania Trump that can only be described as explosive. These remarks, aired live to millions of viewers, were personal, pointed, and, to some, outrageous enough to spark this unprecedented legal response. During the broadcast, the panel of hosts turned their discussion toward Melania's time as First Lady. Their opinions? Far from kind. One host openly questioned whether Melania had ever truly embraced her role in the White House, suggesting she appeared disinterested and even reluctant in her duties.
I saw you on The View.
Yeah. So that's been overwhelming my past couple of days. So I just went in there, did my thing. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know who Sunny Hostin was. I actually still really don't know. So I wasn't expecting necessarily for her to kind of try to ambush me in that way and attack my character in that way.
Well, it is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true.
They get so much hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things.
It didn't stop there. The conversation took a sharp turn into speculation about Melania's personal life, particularly her relationship with her husband, former President Donald Trump. The hosts implied that Melania might not even like her husband, throwing around assumptions about the dynamics of their marriage. And then, as if the comments weren't already controversial enough, they moved on to critique her choices during her tenure in the White House. They criticized her redecoration efforts, questioned her taste, and even took aim at her approach to cherished traditions like Christmas. Their words painted an unflattering picture of a First Lady who, in their view, seemed disengaged, dissatisfied, and struggling to meet public expectations. Naturally, these remarks struck a nerve with Melania Trump, who has long been protective of her public image and private life. In her lawsuit, she's making it clear that she believes these comments went too far, crossing the line from opinion into defamation. And with $100 million on the line, she's not holding anything back. This isn't just another celebrity spat. It's shaping up to be a landmark case that could redefine the boundaries of free speech in daytime television. It's also raising serious questions about how far talk shows can and should go when discussing public figures. For now, the tension is palpable, and all eyes are on what happens next. Melania Trump isn't staying silent. She's stepping up in a big way, filing a defamation lawsuit against The View that claims the host's statements weren't just false. They were deeply damaging to her reputation. This isn't just about hurt feelings. For Melania, this is about protecting her name, her image, and what she sees as an outright attack on her character. She's made it clear she believes the remarks crossed a line, and she's ready to fight back in court. But the drama doesn't end there. Enter Joe Rogan, the podcasting powerhouse and media provocateur. Never one to shy away from controversy, Rogan weighed in on the situation. And let's just say he didn't mince words. On a recent episode of his podcast, Rogan blasted The View, accusing the show of blatant hypocrisy. He reminded listeners of a time not so long ago when Donald and Melania Trump were guests on the very same show, warmly welcomed with cheers, hugs, and smiles from the hosts. Fast forward to today, and Rogan pointed out the stark contrast. Now, the same show that once celebrated the Trumps appears to have made them public enemy number one. Rogan didn't hold back, calling it a calculated narrative flip, driven more by political agendas than any genuine principle. And he didn't stop there. Rogan took aim at The View itself, accusing it of prioritizing sensationalism over meaningful discussions. In his signature no-holds-barred style, he quipped, "If you average out the IQ of the hosts on The View, you might still struggle to hit triple digits." Ouch. Unsurprisingly, his audience ate it up, sparking even more debate across social media. So, why does this all matter? Beyond the headline-grabbing drama, this case raises some critical questions about the limits of free speech and the responsibilities of media outlets. What can and can't be said about public figures? If Melania wins this lawsuit, it could set a precedent that reshapes how public figures are discussed in the media. The case could redefine the boundaries of commentary, forcing shows like The View to tread more carefully when discussing personal lives, marriages, and other sensitive topics. It's worth noting that The View is no stranger to controversy. The show thrives on heated debates and polarizing opinions, but this situation feels different. This isn't just another spat or an awkward on-air moment. This is the former First Lady of the United States taking one of the most watched talk shows in America to court over a $100 million defamation claim. The stakes couldn't be higher. And let's not forget the timing. As Melania files this lawsuit, Donald Trump is once again dominating the headlines, but for entirely different reasons. Whether it's his ongoing political ambitions or other controversies, the Trump family remains at the center of public attention. For better or worse, Melania's legal battle is adding another layer to their already complex and polarizing legacy. Speculation is swirling about whether this lawsuit is more than just a reaction to the comments. Could it be part of a larger strategy to shift the media spotlight back to Melania, especially with all the political heat surrounding her husband, Donald Trump? Whether this move is calculated or simply fueled by frustration, one thing is certain. This story has layers, and we're only beginning to peel them back. Let's revisit those explosive comments. One host on The View didn't just suggest dissatisfaction. She outright claimed that Melania hates her husband and doesn't even want to live in the same house with him. Seriously? That moment left viewers and critics alike in disbelief, thinking, did they really just say that? It was one of those jaw-dropping, did I hear that right? Moments that sparks immediate controversy. What's especially striking is how swiftly Melania decided to take legal action. Typically, high-profile figures let these kinds of remarks roll off their backs, perhaps issuing a brief statement to address the controversy. But not Melania. She's not letting this slide. By filing this lawsuit, she's making it clear that she's not just seeking an apology or a retraction. She's demanding accountability. This is about more than clearing her name. It's about setting a precedent. She's drawing a firm line in the sand, sending a message about what's acceptable in public discourse and what crosses the line. Melania isn't looking for a quick fix or a temporary distraction. With $100 million at stake, this is a full-blown legal battle aimed at protecting her reputation for the long haul. And let's be clear, this isn't some PR stunt to drum up headlines. Melania is treating this as a serious issue, emphasizing that the host's comments caused real harm. To her, this isn't just about hurt feelings or public disagreement. It's about the tangible damage to her image and how she's perceived by the public. So what does all of this mean for the rest of us? It forces us to confront some big, uncomfortable questions. Where's the line between free speech and defamation? When does commentary about a public figure stop being fair game and start becoming harmful? In an age where every word can be amplified and dissected, this lawsuit may set a legal precedent that could change how media outlets navigate these gray areas. The stakes are high, not just for Melania or The View, but for media and public discourse as a whole. With so much riding on the outcome, this isn't just another celebrity spat. It's a case that could redefine the boundaries of modern commentary. And everyone's watching to see where the chips will fall. As this legal drama continues to unravel, the stakes couldn't be higher for everyone involved. Melania Trump's $100 million lawsuit against The View is not just another celebrity spat. It's a pivotal moment that could redefine the boundaries of public discourse, media responsibility, and even free speech. At its core, this case is about much more than hurt feelings. It's about accountability, reputation, and the undeniable power of words in an age where every statement can go viral within seconds. For Melania, this lawsuit is her way of drawing a clear line in the sand. It's not just about addressing a single incident. It's about reclaiming her narrative and making a powerful statement that even public figures, no matter how high profile, are entitled to a degree of respect and truthfulness in how they are portrayed.
Yeah, so as you see, that's Sunny hosting. Uh, and her co-constituents, The View. Now let's go look at Selena Gomez. Let's go ahead and go look at Selena Gomez. So yeah, Selena Gomez is out here doing the same thing, boo-hoo whining and crying over Donald Trump deportations. How you gonna get up on here, start boo-hooing and crying about people getting deported, and then because you got your ass roasted, now all of a sudden you gotta delete the doggone, you deleted the video.
Oh, my people are getting attacked. Selena Gomez breaks down in tears in a since deleted Instagram video. The pop star uploads and later deletes an emotional video of herself speaking about the Trump administration's deportation efforts after the Justice Department said that multiple government agencies began an immigration crackdown in Chicago in an effort to, quote, enforce U.S. immigration law and preserve public safety and national security. Selena sheds tears as she reacts to the news in a since deleted video captioned,
Hey, you know what? Goddamn right. Cause that is my city. That's where I came from. They've been sitting there fucking up the damn city for I don't know how long. By that damn time, somebody did something about Chicago.
and I'm sorry with a Mexican flag. Just wanted to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. They don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything.
I'll tell you what you can do, Selena. You can have all the illegal immigrants come and stay at your house. Oh, but wait, nah, you not gonna do that.
She later posted a follow-up writing, apparently it's not okay to show empathy for people, though later deleted that message off her Instagram stories as well. It's not the first time the Only Murders in the Building star has been open about the topic of immigration. In 2019, she produced a Netflix series called Living Undocumented, around that time sharing her own family's immigration story involving her aunt. In a 2019 essay for Time magazine, Selena previously wrote, "In the 1970s, my aunt crossed the border from Mexico to the United States hidden in the back of a truck. My grandparents followed, and my father was born in Texas soon after. In 1992, I was born a U.S. citizen thanks to their bravery and sacrifice." She added, "Undocumented immigration is an issue I think about every day, and I never forget how blessed I am to have been born in this country thanks to my family and the grace of circumstance." Adding, "But when I read the news headlines or see debates about immigration rage on social media, I feel afraid for those in similar situations. I feel afraid for my country."
Yeah, so there you have it. Selena Gomez over here boo-hoo whining and crying over nothing. Nah, she done got her ass roasted. Oh, Trump just said he gonna be signing a new executive order. We gonna be looking in at that though. we're gonna be looking into that. So she really saw her camera and started filming herself crying. Now that's weird. Why do these celebs love humiliating themselves? Look at the comments. Selena Gomez has a lot of money, right? What is she doing to help her people? The tears are from seeing what Benny Blanco looks like. She must have had those beer goggles on the whole time. I wish I could do something. Open your mansion and feed them. That's what I said. You can, hey, look. You want them to be here so bad they could come and stay at your house. You got this big ass mansion. You make over $1 million off of Disney. So you got enough resources to take care of these people. You want to take care of these people? Go right on ahead and take care of them. She's right. She clearly doesn't understand. When you rich and have nothing else to have drama over. Hell no. You know? Now let's look at Tom Holman real quick. Let's look at the man Tom Holman real quick. See what he got to say about Chicago, about ICE.
Put another way, they need to start producing food that people have sales and won't be able to resist. That's right, sir. Are you listening? I am listening. Please, sir. That's right. Yeah, fine, darling. It's fine. Not bad news, it's fucking good news. Yeah, it's clear. The writing's on the wall. She's from the end of the
I didn't ask for you to do that, but okay.
You're fucking cocky, you know. Yeah, she pays you fucking salary. Are you mad? How much have you put in there? Yeah, not a fucking penny. Not a single penny. You've taken from her, so now it's time to give back. I mean, not cooking burritos.
Niggas got to fix their internet. These motherfuckers slow.
All I need to confirm that you do have the basics, but at the same time, cook me like fucking omelette. Show me something that I can eat. Be happy with it. An omelette is probably one of the first things you learn to cook at catering college.
Yeah. Hold on, bro. Yeah. My internet too slow for this shit.
Inside? Was that fun? Another. Oh, shit. I understand. You're a head chef. You're taking the piss. You know. You know what taking the piss, you know. Nothing back. And the whole idea of turning him off is to sort of help.
It's just boohoo in the corner.
Any chef worth his salt should be able to source good quality ingredients at a good price. The local already think Bonaparte too expensive. They want value for money. For soup to start making. If any sort of profit, it needs to be clever. Pick up the thing
Come on, man.
Clearly, you need some inspiration from new bistro style menu. Okay, thank you. That's your one now. You've got 10 and 4. On you, divide. Starter, main course, and pudding. 20 quid. 5 quid per head. Right, and we'll see how heavy you are with the money back. Right, we're making some French onion soup today, so we're looking for some like sort of rustic like baguette. Clearly, Tim never bought anything from Harvard before. Any discount for the trade?
Come on, cuz. Like, niggas is not finna sit here and. Ah, damn, like, can you play the fucking video for me? Like, shit. And stop acting like a dun sometimes, shit.
Tim's men's expensive fish and meat. He needs to open his eyes to the tasty, less expensive option. What would you do with a
I mean, and I guess this what you got to deal with when you ain't got no money
was on the ground
and
in
you
Chicago
broke.
as federal and local authorities work together to track down and arrest criminal migrants. And he, as you can see, joins us now. Tom Holman, thank you very much, sir, for being here. Chicago as federal and local authorities work together to track down and arrest criminal migrants. Is the president, as you can see, joins us now. Thank you very much, sir. The president happy with this progress.
Yesterday was just day one. And I think the president's happy. We're going to go out throughout the country. We're not going to let up. We put our foot on the gas, and we're going to go. And as I explained to several stations yesterday, that aperture can continue to grow. Right now, we're concentrating on public safety threats and national security threats. But as we open up that aperture, looking for fugitives, those who had due process at great taxpayer expense, there's over 1 million of them, 1.4 million. They're on the table. Anybody in the country illegally, they're on the table. But we're going to go after them in a prioritization that makes sense. The worst first.
So let me ask you a couple of questions about your trip to Chicago. First of all, why did you want to go to Chicago? Will you be going to more cities like Chicago? And what was the reaction like when you talked to local forces there, like the local police?
Well, look, I went to Chicago a couple of times, met with the black pastors, met with the community. They were begging for ICE enforcement action because of the crime in Chicago. I made a commitment to them that we'd be out there. I also made a commitment to the mayor of Chicago that I'm coming to Chicago, even though he said I wasn't welcomed, and along with Governor Pritzker. And plus, just a few days ago, Pritzker did put on social media ICE was in elementary school. I wanted to make a point that ICE is going to do that job, regardless if they're going to help us or not. As far as the local community, nothing but cheers walking through the airport, cheers walking through the streets. We stopped at a police station to take a nature break, and we went on the road so long, and every uniform in that building walked up, shook our hands, and thanked us for being there and helping them make their communities more safe.
Okay, so Tom, we're looking at video on our screen, for example, from Chicago over the weekend. Particularly the last video was on Sunday. Okay, here's another video. One was the agents knocking on the person's door, pulling him outside and bringing him out to the federal vehicle. So can you give us some sense, like, are every single one of these people, are they criminals, gang members, every single one of them? What exactly have you been able to determine, and what can you tell us?
Yesterday, during the operation I was part of, I can tell you we arrested more than 9 TDA members, 10 Iowa members. A couple of them are being criminally prosecuted because one of them was selling weapons. Here's an illegal alien gang member in the United States selling guns, illegal guns, to other gang members. And some of these guns had what they call switch. The switch is added to the gun to make a fully automatic. It turns a Glock handgun into a machine gun. So we arrested a lot of TDA members. I know we arrested 2 illegal aliens that had murder convictions that were walking the street. We arrested at least 7 sexual predators, mostly child predators. We arrested people with assault allegations, extreme sexual assault. These are all bad people, public safety threats. They shouldn't be walking the streets of Chicago. If they weren't a sanctuary city, we should have arrested them in the safety and security of a jail rather than releasing them in the community, put the community at greater risk of crime and assaults.
So something crazy happened in Chicago at the end of last week. 2 Secret Service agents went to a local elementary school because they were running down a threat that was made on TikTok. They identified themselves to the school principal. They even left cards saying, look, if you want to get back to us, here's how you get back to us. Suddenly, the story became that it was ICE agents who went to this school, Tom. And Pedro Martinez, the Chicago Public Schools CEO, said this. Listen here.
Struggling with complicated content and editing software? I was too. Riverside really simplified things. Riverside makes the entire process easy, from recording to editing to streaming without having to jump from app to app. Everything you need is all in one place. Recording is simple. Hit record to capture your live session locally, maintaining the highest quality recording while also creating separate audio and video tracks for each participant. Riverside's AI-enhanced editor lets you cut down on editing time. Use it to transform your recordings into high-quality, branded content. Get transcriptions automatically and use them to edit.
We had individuals that came to one of our schools, Hamline Elementary School, that presented credentials and shared that they were from ICE. And so our staff followed the protocols. We're very clear. We've been training our principals, our security guards, any front office staff to making sure that they know that we are not to share any information with anybody from the Immigration Department or ICE.
So not only did the CEO of Chicago Public Schools pass off misinformation about U.S. Secret Service agents who were interpreted to be ICE, but listen to what J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, said after that. After a week of Republicans sowing fear and chaos, the first reports of raids in Chicago are at an elementary school. Targeting children and separating families is cruel and un-American. To be clear again, these were Secret Service agents running down a threat that was made on TikTok. They were not ICE agents. ICE never went near that school. What do you say to Pedro Martinez and the governor of Illinois, who appear to be not only sowing information, but fear?
Well, Pedro Martinez lied. He lied to the city of Chicago because he knew it was Secret Service agents, because I talked to the people involved. They left their credentials. He knew exactly who were there, so he lied. Again, sowing fear in the immigrant community. And Governor Pritzker, rather than calling ICE and asking us, did this happen or did it not happen, he goes on social media and terrifies elementary schools that ICE agents are walking in there. No, he accuses me of terrifying the community. No, he terrified the community. He terrified the children. You know what ICE did yesterday? They saved children. We arrested 9 sexual predators, many of them child sex predators. We saved children. ICE saved children. We're not going to schools and scaring the hell out of them. Governor Pritzker deserves, he needs to give ICE an apology. What he did was just plain wrong, and by doing that, he put fear in the community that shouldn't have to be there. Children shouldn't have to fear ICE agents walking into an elementary school to arrest them.
Yeah. Tom, I don't know if you've had a chance to see a video that has been going viral over the past hour or so. We're still working to clear it and show it. In fact, the Hollywood celebrity who posted it has now deleted it, I think because probably she faced a lot of backlash for it, noting even the New York Times and Fox News polls show that a majority of American respondents are in favor of deportations of criminals and gang members. She posted a video sobbing. She was crying in it. She said, all my people are getting attacked, with the picture of a Mexican flag. Again, she has now taken that down. But what do you say to those who are out there saying that these are everyday people, these are families that are being attacked and dragged out of their homes? How do you respond to that?
I don't think we arrested any families. We've arrested public safety threats and national security threats, bottom line. And look, President Trump won the election on this one issue, securing our border and saving lives. What happened on our southern border last 4 years is the biggest national security threat this country's seen, at least in my lifetime, because we got over 2 million known gotaways. We got a 600% increase in sex trafficking. We got a record number of terrorists crossing the border on the terrorist watch list. We have 250,000 Americans dying from fentanyl coming across the open border. We're going to do this job, and we're going to enforce the laws of this country. If they don't like it, then go to Congress and change the law. We're going to do this operational apology. We're going to make our community safer. We're going to save. Once we lock that border on continuous operation, you're going to see fentanyl deaths decrease, illegal alien crime decrease, sex trafficking decrease. It's just all for the good of this nation, and we're going to keep going. No apologies. We're moving forward.
One quick question just to finish this off here. So President Trump twisted the arm of Colombia's President Gustavo Petro, got him to reverse course in a matter of hours. But we do not have repatriation agreements with Venezuela. We don't have a repatriation agreement with China. What do you do about people from those 2 countries who have been apprehended?
No, first of all, we got President Trump. They will take them back. I'm convinced, because under the first Trump administration, El Salvador won't take MS-13 members. It took President Trump 48 hours, and we're filling planes of El Salvador and MS-13. Mexico didn't want to do Marine in Mexico. They didn't want to put military on the northern and southern border, but they did it. We got a strong president who put America first.
But you're dealing with Maduro, you're dealing with President Xi. Two different people.
If they don't take them, we'll find a third safe country. I already got several countries lining up, willing to take nationals from any country for us. And we're working on those agreements now. So if we can't move them one place, we'll move them someplace else, but they're not staying here.
Tom, thank you very much for coming on. Hope to have you back soon.
Thank you, Tom.
I'm Steve Ducey. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
And so, yeah, that's what's going on in the world today. Now, let's sit here and watch these people boohoo, whine, and crying over DEI. So yeah, let's get up on here. Let's watch Al Sharpton.
And I really don't know if any of it's sunk in. So I'm not.
So yeah, let's watch these people sit here boohoo, whine, and crying over DEI.
I'll say this for Tim. You know, Chris, I don't want to fail, but now he's got the proof. He's master of his own kitchen. We're not leaving this as a door yet.
WGU offers more than 40 real-world ready bachelor's degree programs designed with industry experts, so you're prepared to make a difference and advance your career. Learn.
Hey, 92%.
Hey, 92%.
How y'all doing? You know what to do. No Walmart or Harley Davidson. No DEI equals boycott. Let's do it.
No DEI equals boycott?
Well, Walmart has decided they're going to be getting rid of their DEI policies. Why? Because right-wing conservatives have been targeting a number of public companies, telling them they don't like what their support for transgender, LGBTQ, as well as Black folks and other minorities. This is the Walmart U.S. CEO speaking this morning on CBS This Morning, explaining their decision. Of course, Walmart is America's largest employer, one of the biggest companies in the world. So this is a huge decision. Listen.
Is diversity among your suppliers still important to you at Walmart, John?
Well, starting with our company back in 1962, we were a small business, single store that operated out of Rogers, Arkansas. And so we'll continue to do the things that we can do to ensure that small suppliers have a path to being successful, not only at Walmart, but in their business in total. Every year, we really focus on made in the USA. About 2/3 of what we sell is either made, grown, or assembled right here in the United States. We have a program every summer called Open Call, where we welcome in small suppliers. And we welcome in people that have an idea, that are not sure, and they want to learn. So we're going to continue to lean into ensuring that we provide the very best pathways for small businesses, our suppliers, to be successful here in the store. If I had more time, I could take around the store and show you a few of those examples. But there are a lot of them, and there'll continue to be more.
Okay, so first of all, you saw right there, he didn't answer Gail King's question. He didn't answer it at all. There also was this $100 million initiative that they had announced after the death of George Floyd. They're getting rid of that. It was they also were funding what it was called a Center for Racial Equity, a nonprofit that Walmart launched in 2020. Supposed to be a 5-year initiative, and so that's also being shuttered. Let's just be real, Randy. What's going on here? This is part of the attack against critical race theory. Part of the attack on affirmative action. This is all about the right-wing agenda.
Hey, 92%. How y'all doing? You know what to do. No Walmart or Harley Davidson. No DEI equals boycott. Let's do it.
Hey, 92%. No DEI equal boycott.
Yesterday, Walmart's CEO announced the company is mixing all of its diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. So in other words, Walmart will no longer be intentional about ensuring historically marginalized, oppressed, and underrepresented communities are represented.
Oh my God. Really? Like seriously? Really?
Many years ago, I stopped.
And I'm literally saying the same thing the dude is saying. Really?
Spending the majority of my money at Walmart. And after yesterday's announcement, I am committed that they will not get 1 penny from me until they change their stance on DEI.
Hey, Valentine's. Hey, my 40 plus and over family. So I am pulling up to Walmart in Baton Rouge to see if we got the memo about boycotting, and I don't think we got the memo, y'all, because it's packed, and I'm really getting pissed off. I'm finna park, and I'm going to go and walk in here and see what all they have in here, and see if what all they are buying. But I am so pissed off, y'all. Let me let y'all see this parking lot. Hold on. So this is, I don't know if y'all can see it, but I'm gonna drive around like it's packed. And so we can never do right. We can never really just stick together on some shit. Like, I'm just so upset because it's packed. I'm mad. We said we boycotting. And these people out here, it's packed.
Did you not forget that you only 13 or 14% of the doggone population in the rest of America? And how much you want to bet? Half of black folks probably don't even give no fuck about DEI because it don't benefit them in the first place. You already have anti-discrimination laws in place. You don't need a DEI program. That is just something that is made up for you niggas that ain't got no skills, that ain't got no qualifications, that ain't gonna really work to get a job.
Okay, Walmart. We see you. You want to be the first one to jump up and get rid of DEI? You want to be the first one to jump up and let us know that you're no longer going to be supportive of making sure that the minority is represented at Walmart? Okay. You're not going to teach diversity. You're not going to train it. Okay. We see you. since you're getting rid of DEI and just letting us know you have no use for black people or any other minority, how about we let you know we have no use for you? Get rid of DEI? Go ahead. But starting this week, I think we should show you in numbers. And in the only way that matters to people like you is in the pocket. So let's come up with BOFB. BOFB. Blackout Black Friday. You can have Black Friday without black people. How about that? It's time that we stand up and let them know. If that's the way you feel about us, that's cool. Because all you ever had to do was be honest. But let us show you how we feel about you. See, that cuts both ways.
So if I got this correctly, the lady said, you want to be the first one to jump up and get rid of DEI, letting us know you have no use for black people or any other minority. Here's my take. Walmart's corporate decision may reflect a shift in strategy rather than an abandonment of commitment. Instead of assuming inclusionary motives, it could be more effective to engage in a dialogue or demand transparency about their goals or ongoing initiatives. You can't just assume things.
Did you know that you can create a fully functioning website in minutes using AI? Well, let me show you how. So first, visit hostinger.com, choose a premium or business plan, and grab your site's address. Quickly describe how you imagine your website to look, and AI will build it for you. Hit go live, and that's it. Your new website is ready for the world to see. You can make it uniquely yours by adding personal.
Assume things.
LGBTQ, whoever. They said minorities. Walmart. You so fucking see what hate does to you? You're so fucking dumb. You're so fucking stupid. White people, y'all are the minorities. That's why y'all doing all this stupid shit. With the Roe versus Wade.
60% of the population. They are 60% of the population. What are you talking about? How can
Wade type shit. You know, this is all it's about. You guys being the minorities. So you come up with rules and shit to affect other people's lives and try to glorify the whiteness of this country. This is what they're doing.
21 years I was a store manager for the company, and I am here to give you the tea. This is the fourth quarter of the fiscal year, the most important quarter for Walmart typically, because they're trying to push to put more numbers on the bottom line, because they're going to have to report the earnings for the entire year to their shareholders. February 1st marks the beginning of an entirely new fiscal year. So right now, they're pushing to get those last few dollars. The reason why doing it now is important is because typically in December, believe it or not, even with Christmas, most retailers suffer a downturn in sales. That's the reason why you have the whole Black Friday thing. The perception of consumers getting a great deal, it's there because no other way exists for them to get you in the store and get you spending all the extra money that we spend this time of year. You guys may also notice when you go in some Walmart stores, it appears that they're thinly staffed. They do that on purpose because, again, if they're trying to report their best numbers, they review any and every expense they can. And the first place we used to cut was payroll. That's considered a flexible expense. I'm not sure about other retailers, but Walmart generally orders all of their merchandise a year, 2, 3 in advance for the general merchandise side of the store. That's where the company makes its money, not on the grocery side. The GM side of the building is where the merchandise has the highest markup, and that's where they make their money. So think about this. If they've already ordered a store full of merchandise because they're counting on the same customer base that supports them throughout the year, and for the last 3-4 months of the year, you guys don't go in there, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to sit there, again, they committed. They already bought this merchandise. And so then they're left in a position where they have to mark all that freight down to get it out of the stores to make room for other merchandise. Otherwise, you're going to see Walmart start to look like Dollar General stores. If you really want to make an impact and let the company know how you feel about their marketing practices, etc., this is the time to do it. But you ain't heard that from me.
Wonder if these people are just bitter and angry because of if Walmart decides to not do the DEI deal, they sort of have their own reasoning. You can't just assume, like I said before. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you like this content, please like, share, or subscribe if you haven't yet. And again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Monday sales CRM. Easily customize my CRM without any code or from the way I do my day to my pipeline. I can customize anything.
So yeah, Adam people are boohoo and crying. Telling me boohoo and crying. Yo, let's watch these people. I said they're boohoo and crying about DEI. Let's go to Al Sharpton, because you know his broke ass is trying to look for some money. Al Sharpton at Costco trying to look for that bag. Oh yeah. So let's look at the Reverend Al Sharpton trying to sit here and trying to find him some more money because he might lose that job at MSNBC for what he did for Kamala. Oh, and Joy Reid got something to say about it too? Okay, we're gonna get on her ass too.
60 years of prejudice of order, all approved by the United States Supreme Court. We're allowed to do it because we are now in a merit-based world.
That was President Trump today boasting about ending hiring protections for federal contractors. And by doing so, he highlights the stark reality we face. It took him days to reverse decades of hard-fought progress on civil rights. On Tuesday, Trump revoked an executive order signed by President Lyndon Johnson in 1965 that banned federal contractors from discriminating on the basis of race, gender, or religion. On Wednesday, Trump's acting attorney general told the Justice Department to pause all civil rights cases and settlements. The acting AG also called for a review of the newly signed consent decrees with police departments in Minneapolis and in Louisville, Kentucky. Both cities' mayors say they plan to carry out reforms even without the federal government. On Thursday, Trump pardoned 2 D.C. police officers convicted of misconduct in the death of an unarmed black man in 2020. The officers pursued 20-year-old Karen Hilton Brown for riding his moped on the sidewalk and tried to cover up their role in his death. And then yesterday, we learned all DEI and environmental justice offices and positions in the federal government will be terminated within 60 days. All of Trump's corrosive actions against civil rights so far this week send an unmistakable signal. The federal government can no longer be counted on to defend the rights of all of its citizens, especially if they are not white, cisgender, straight, and male. Joining me now, the Reverend Al Sharpton, host of Politics Nation on MSNBC and founder and president of the National Action Network. He's also the author of Righteous Troublemakers, Untold Stories of the Social Justice Movement in America. Rev, there is no better person for me to talk to about this. Just your reaction. I didn't see your show, so I'm sure you talked about this.
Oh, yeah.
To Donald Trump, President Trump saying he erased 60 years of prejudice.
It shows a profound bias, but even a more profound ignorance, because the Civil Rights Act that Lyndon Johnson signed, and then his protection that was revoked by Trump, that he signed 60 years ago, was to respond to bias and to respond to exclusion. In many cases, by law. You must remember, there were laws saying blacks couldn't do certain things, laws against LGBTQ, laws against women in some places. So for him to act like that now we're dealing with merit, we had merit, we just didn't have access to show our merit. And many of us that said this is how he felt, and he was saying, no, I don't, now see, he hasn't even been president a week.
Right.
And he's done all this. He's done all this in 5 days. This is what he went in there for. This is the crowd he's playing to. And we must organize, because we must remember, we only got those rights won in the first place because we fought, which is why we've been methodical and strategic. But we intend to boycott some of these companies, but we're going to do it strategically. And today, those that are with us, I took over 100 people from our regular Saturday National Action Network rally, and we went shopping in Costco's because they say, no, we're not going to be with the president. We're going to keep DEI. So we need to reward and be with our friends and our enemies. You don't want diversity in the office space, then you should have diversity in your consumer base.
There's so much to be worried about just in the realm of civil rights. But I have to tell you, I did audibly gasp when I saw the news that he ended all civil rights cases and settlements. Why? Explain to viewers why they should be concerned that the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department is basically going dark when it comes to protecting the civil rights of American citizens.
When we have, over the last several years, decades, had a civil rights division that protected voting rights, that went in the Deep South and made sure that state officials couldn't block blacks from voting, couldn't block others from access. The only way Martin Luther King and others was successful is the federal government came in and protected them. That's what a little thing, and I'm being facetious, called the Civil War was about. The Union rather than separate Confederate states. We're going back to a Confederate model now of states not having to worry about that the federal government will come in. The other thing that is an insult to the intelligence of American people, whether you're Republican or Democrat, is on the same week that you're going to pardon people that beat up police officers, that led to one police officer dying, and that assaulted people, put feces in members of Congress' office, you are now going to say, I'm removing a Civil Rights Bureau that would protect citizens, and I'm letting some cops go that killed a man on a moped. So I'm going to let these violent criminals be pardoned. But I'm going to make sure that no one else can even have access to the federal government assuring their justice. Now, this is as twisted as you can get.
I got two questions for you. We don't have time. I'm going to ask these two questions. One, I'm sorry, but if the January 6th rioters had actually been Antifa and, pro-left people that all the conspiracy theories say they were, do you think these folks would be pardoned?
No, not only pardoned, he would have said they didn't get enough time if they had been prosecuted and give time. But even to take your question another step, he's called nonviolent people violent.
Right.
He's called.
Wait, hold on. So we did find out that they had FBI informants on the ground. So he lied about that again. And no, he didn't call the ones that was nonviolent violent. He's lying about that. But hey, what do you know? This is Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton is always looking for a come up, always race baiting to get him some money. And that's what this all. This is the same man that was an FBI informant that took down a mafia family. This was a man that 9 times out of 10 who basically was caught up with the IRS over fraud, and now he wanted. Oh, and the same man that tried to take over the George Floyd George Floyd movement. Y'all remember that? Do y'all remember that? This man is literally a fraud. You don't hear him. I didn't hear from this man for about 4 years until now. Now he over here marching. Like he Martin Luther King. Boy, stop. Boy, stop. You ain't heard from his ass in 4 years. Now all of a sudden he want to march on Selma like Martin Luther King. But let's continue.
Call us a bunch of names, and we have not had violence. When he was president before, George Floyd happened, Ahmaud Arbery happened, Breonna Taylor happened. We had protests all over the world. I had the big protests in Washington, 200,000 people in a pandemic. No violence at ours. And when there was violence at others, we denounced it. When he was president, the only thing he said was, he took a Bible, went across the street in front of a church, and had them move nonviolent protesters away so he could lecture us. Now he's coming out with executive orders to really dislodge some of the things that protected us.
Unfortunately.
So ain't nobody going. Okay, so but police brutality been happening for I don't know how long. Ain't nobody saying shit when Obama said those are isolated incidents. Nobody said a damn thing when Obama came out and said those were isolated incidents. When he talked about Michael Brown, he talked about Eric Garner, and he basically deemed those as isolated incidents. These people talking about everything that Trump done did, but ain't looking at the whole doggone picture. But let's keep going. And so now we finna sit here and watch Joy Reid boo-hoo whine and crying over DEI and Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
From what I've seen so far, I'm not possibly, but now it's no question. There's no question where to start.
So let me begin with a classic quiz show. It was called What's My Line, and it aired on CBS during the late 1950s and early 1960s. Now, the gimmick for the show was for a celebrity panel to try to guess the profession of a mystery guest. The panel for the January 1964 episode included actress Arlene Francis, comedian Steve Allen, columnist Dorothy Kilgallen, known as the voice of Broadway, and Bennett Cerf, the co-founder of Random House Publishing. The host, journalist John Charles Daly, was previously best known as the first national correspondent to report on the Pearl Harbor attack and the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt. The first mystery guest signed in as Jerry Whittington from West River, Maryland.
Miss or Mrs. Whittington? Miss Whittington. Where are you from?
West River, Maryland.
West River, Maryland. Nice to have you with us. Miss Whittington, may I present our panel? Now, would you join me over here, please? And we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is.
So it turns out President Lyndon Johnson had arranged for Ms. Whittington to appear on the show rather than announce her hiring via press conference. He knew that the hire would be controversial. Geraldine Jerry Whittington was the first black woman to work in a non-domestic job in the White House. She got hired as LBJ's personal secretary when, after the assassination of President Kennedy, the new president wanted a fresh pool of secretaries in the White House. He reportedly saw Ms. Whittington working in another government office and asked his aide, Jack Valenti, to track down her number. Here's part of the phone call recorded by Johnson of him calling Ms. Whittington to offer her the job.
Yo, it is so funny how they quote Lyndon B. Johnson so damn much, but Lyndon B. Johnson was the one that said, if we vote on the Civil Rights Act, we'll have them niggas voting Democrats for 200 years. That was literally his words. But these people love to quote Lyndon B. Johnson as if he's their favorite president. When the only way the man became president was because the person he was vice president to was assassinated. This is the same man that turned around and told y'all exactly what I said before. But we gonna sit here and act like he the president of black folk. Okay.
This is Whittington.
You?
Hello?
You?
I'm at home. Who's this?
This is the president.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Oh, I think someone's playing with me.
No, I won't talk to you about our work, honey. Where are you, at home?
Oh, yes, I am.
Are you busy?
No, I'm not.
Can you come down here immediately?
Oh, I'll be glad to.
Come down. I've got Jack Valenti here, and we want to talk to you about a little reassignment.
Okay, I love that at first she did not believe that it was the president calling. According to his biographers, Johnson specifically wanted to hire a black woman as his personal secretary to send a message to the racist segregationists in his Southern Democratic Party. Hiring her was a nod to diversity, inclusion, and economic opportunity. At the time Ms. Whittington was hired, this is what Johnson's cabinet looked like. Note the many varieties of white guy. That's also what most of the federal workforce looked like, particularly after a previous Democratic president, Woodrow Wilson, formally segregated the civil service in 1913. Wilson and his cabinet exiled Black postal workers to the dead letter office, where they couldn't be seen by the public. They created segregated workspaces and even required federal job applicants to affix a photo of themselves to their applications to make it easier to discriminate. Fast forward to LBJ, who after Kennedy's assassination was under pressure from Dr. King and the civil rights movement, was pushing Congress to pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act in 1965, and a 1968 law to open up immigration to people from non-white countries. Jerry Whittington was a message. She was also the first person Johnson told that he was nominating Thurgood Marshall to be the first Black Supreme Court justice. She and Justice Marshall happened to have died on the same day in 1993. But here she is, featured inside Jet magazine. But LBJ wasn't done.
You do not take a person who for years has been hobbled by chains and liberate him, bringing up to the starting line of a race, and then say, you are free to compete with all the others, and still justly believe that you have been completely fair. Thus, it is not enough just to open the gates of opportunity. All our citizens must have the ability to walk through those gates. And this is the next and the more profound stage of the battle for civil rights. We seek not just freedom, but opportunity. We seek not just legal equity, but human ability. Not just equality as a right and a theory, but equality as a fact and equality as a result.
Students with ADHD save 10 hours studying with this Chrome extension.
But no, by all means, go ahead, skip the ad, save a few seconds.
I have to do a lot of reading for my job, emails, reports, write-ups, but sometimes reading can get really, really tiring. To stay focused,
That was Lyndon Johnson announcing during a June 1965 commencement address at Howard University his plan to take direct aim at economic inequality. In September of that year, he signed Executive Order 11246, which barred discriminatory hiring practices by federal agencies, federal contractors, or subcontractors. And even after it was narrowed to include just the contractors and subcontractors, the order literally changed the federal workforce, as subsequent presidents, Republican and Democrat, continued to enforce it, Bill Clinton in particular. Today, about 19% of federal workers are Black in a country that's about 11% Black, and about 60% of the federal workforce is white in a population that's about 59% white. Desegregating federal employment literally built the Black middle class in states like Virginia, Maryland, and the District of Columbia. Black postal workers became a bedrock of the Black middle class nationwide. There have been thousands and thousands of Jerry Whittingtons, which is probably why the civil service is a prime target of the right-wing Heritage Foundation, its Project 2025 playbook, and almost obsessively
And see, here we go with the Project 2025 propaganda. Here we go with the Project 2025 propaganda. Lord have mercy.
anti-Black figures like Stephen Miller, who seems in many ways to be running the Trump government. If obnoxious performative proclamations like ending the commemoration of Black History Month and MLK Day in federal agencies and no longer teaching about the Tuskegee Airmen in the Naval Academy, which they retracted, are any indication. But if you look deeper into what this second Trump administration is doing, not just the provocative stuff that they're saying, it sure seems like something else is going on. I think to understand it, you first have to realize that federal contracting is the single biggest source of wealth in America. It's a nearly $1 trillion pot of tax money each year spent with private companies. Getting federal contracts is literally how companies and their founders and CEOs become super rich. Think SpaceX, owned by Elon Musk, and Blue Origin, owned by Jeff Bezos, or United Healthcare. All are among the biggest federal contractors in the US, though nothing is bigger and eats up more of our tax money than defense contractors. And with Tom Homan and Stephen Miller's twisted kick in the schoolhouse, restaurant, and church doors and drag undocumented people into military planes after demanding their papers, apartheid South Africa-style plan well underway in blue cities like Chicago, Illinois, and Newark, New Jersey, private prison stocks are soaring. They're posed to see a boom in federal contracts with the Trump regime. And Bezos and Elon and Mark Zuckerberg and Peter Thiel and the rest of the tech oligarch bros and Bitcoin bros are surely preparing to belly up to the Trump teat to suck out even more federal contracts, which explains why Elon and fellow tech bro Sam Altman are currently catfighting over the new AI regulations the Trump cacistocracy are cobbling together with executive orders that some eagle-eyed legal journalists have spotted seem to have been written with AI chatbots. The money that's about to flow to Trump's friends and cronies is likely going to make your head spin, all funded by you, the taxpayer. On top of you having to fund the gargantuan additional tax cut Republicans are prepping so the super rich can pay as close to zero in taxes as possible. Not to mention you footing the bill on those 25% tariffs on your Colombian coffee and anything that's imported from Mexico, Canada, and Panama. Oh, yeah, it just.
So we're gonna sit here and act like you not gonna benefit from those tax cuts. Come on now. Stop.
Just wait till Trump launches his Putin-style military assault on Greenland and Panama. Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, and the other defense behemoths are gonna bathe in contractor cash, which is really super profitable. You know, war is like the most profitable thing. So while you're focused on the terror raids and the firings and the End Black History Month and the fake piety about merit, while Trump hires literal TV personalities to run his government, Trump and friends are preparing to.
So here we go again with the bullshit. Did nobody say they was going to declare war on Greenland? Did nobody say they was going to declare war on Greenland? See, this is why niggas, the more people become informed, the more they stop listening to y'all asses.
To pull off what amounts to a giant bank robbery. Guys, they're going to loot the federal government, hand out contracts to their friends who no longer have to worry about hiring Black folks, women, disabled veterans, LGBTQ folks, anybody who might not go along with the scam. Because when you're preparing to start the steal, you know what you don't need hanging around? Witnesses. Like, say, longtime civil servants who make the government run, whether the president is someone they voted for or not. You don't want civil servant witnesses around when you start the steal, because they might tell. You know who won't tell? Cronies who got their jobs only because they pledged total personal loyalty to the felon in chief.
This is what boohooing and crying and making up stuff really actually look like. I honestly, for the life of me, if we believe that both of these political groups are racist,
Content creators ready to
To level up your YouTube game?
Then
Well, VFly's in the house, baby, and we're about to blow your mind. Boom! So picture this. You just dropped your lastest YouTube...
then it's like, why are we sitting here and picking one side and trying to make one side look anti-racist when we can go back in history? We can go back in history and find Joe Biden. We can look up Lyndon B. Johnson and see exactly how racist they was. But if we say here, we actually believe as a black group, as a group of people, that these people are racist on both sides, why are we sitting here trying to make it seem like one side is racist and the other one is not? Come on now. But here's the thing. Let's go back to the borders are. Enough of that boohoo whining and crying about racism and all that stuff. Let's go back to the borders are.
The old saying, elections have consequences, is playing out in very real time in a very real way in cities all across our country as the Trump administration makes good on one of Trump's most controversial campaign promises, a promise that was immortalized in that sea of signs at the Republican National Convention: mass deportations now. 1 week into Trump's second term, it's no longer an abstract idea or controversial campaign promise or even a convention sign. The deportations are underway. Over the weekend, we saw them in cities like Chicago, a city Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, has repeatedly taunted, calling Chicago ground zero for mass deportations. In all, ICE made 956 arrests on Sunday in Chicago and around the country, quote, the largest single day number to date by the Trump administration, and at least 2,681 arrests since his inauguration last Monday. Those numbers may or may not tell the whole story. It is an open question how Trump's mass deportations will ultimately stack up against previous administrations. But one thing that is not an open question, one thing we don't have to wonder about, is how it feels if you are undocumented in America right now, or even if you worry that you could be mistaken for being undocumented because of the color of your skin or your name. This is a headline out of Chicago. Quote, "We are terrified." The New York Times spoke with one man, a man who was born.
On your stupid ass, what you terrified for? Blame it on your stupid ass goddamn Chicago mayor who is not willing to cooperate. Because if he would have gave ICE the opportunity to access those jails in Cook County, we would not probably be going through this. And the fact that he even has a catch and release program in his doggone in the city is the reason why they got to do this in the first place. So don't be sitting there talking about you terrified. Blame that shit on your dumb ass goddamn mayor for not wanting to cooperate with federal law. And now they got to do this. Listen, ain't nobody giving a damn about your feelings. Blame that shit on the people you voted for.
Born in this country, who said this, quote, "I can tell you that even for those of us who are citizens or have a green card, there's fear. I'm scared myself, not that I'll be deported because I was born here, but I'm scared that I may get scooped up in a mass arrest." That fear of mass arrest and disorientation and uncertainty is not an unintended consequence or a design flaw of Trump's mass deportations. It is the design.
Government, JB, it is a design flaw because your stupid ass government like JB Pritzker and goddamn the sea lion that y'all voted in to run Chicago, they the ones instilling fear. And the goddamn sea lion that y'all decided to vote in as mayor, they the ones instilling fear. They the ones sitting there talking about y'all gonna be separating families and all this shit and everything else. Listen, I would give Tom. I'm from Chicago. I would give Tom Hallman the automatic permission to take his ass up into Chicago and arrest that sea lion that y'all voted into office. I don't understand. I don't get it. What the hell is wrong with y'all people? How the hell did this man become the mayor of Chicago? We already had Lori Lightfoot, the troll doll, for a goddamn mayor when I was there. Now you got this sea lion who's doing 2 times worse than her. Yeah, we Tom Homan, come and get him. Go get him.
Design feature. It is exactly what the Trump administration intends. And you don't have to take our word for it, because as usual, the Trump administration is saying the quiet part out loud. Here's Vice President J.D. Vance.
We empowered law enforcement to enforce the law everywhere.
Listen, when I was in Chicago, when we was living in Chicago, y'all had the troll doll running things up there, and she was fucking it up bad. She was fucking it up bad. Now y'all got this sea lion in office, and he making shit worse, and he raising property taxes for illegal immigrants and all that shit. He done turned around and then stopped the ceasefire program, defunded the police. Do you know that the crime rate in Chicago is always been through the roof? They are literally, I forgot what was the number? They are billions of dollars in debt. They don't even own the blocks that they live on. They don't even own the blocks that they live on, that they walk down. They don't even own the blocks that they walk down.
To protect Americans.
Effect, a chilling effect, arguably, to people to not send their kids to school.
I desperately hope it has a chilling effect on illegal immigrants coming into our country.
I desperately hope it has a chilling effect. There you have it. The cruelty, the intended fear, the intended confusion.
They're gonna cut J.D. Vance's doggone, they're gonna do a snippet of what he just said, cut the other stuff, and then try to make it seem like, yeah, that's what he's saying. He gonna instill fear. No, he instilling fear in the illegal immigrants. But this is what they're gonna do, y'all. This is what these people gonna do.
The intended chaos is the point. It's their objective. It's also where we start today with NBC News national correspondent and executive producer of the documentary film Separated, Jacob Soboroff. Jacob, first, tell me what's going on all across the country. Start with Chicago.
I think, Nicole, what we see is what we see. The facts on the ground are the facts on the ground. They are carrying out deportation efforts, immigration enforcement operations, to use the specific terminology that the Department of Homeland Security uses. But whether or not what we're witnessing is the largest mass deportation in American history is still, if not up for debate, a story that is yet to be written. There is a major show of force going on across the country, started by the Trump administration, to create the perception that immigration enforcement is out in the streets all across the United States of America. And I think that it's important to note that that is indeed happening. And there are people being deported, likely as you and I are speaking right now, back to their home countries. I think it's also important to underline that what we have seen play out in Chicago and Atlanta and in Phoenix and in Denver and in Los Angeles and in cities throughout Texas over the course of this weekend are also enforcement operations that have played out historically in the United States of America, both under President Trump's predecessor, Joe Biden, and President Trump's predecessor in his first term, President Obama, who deported more people than any president in the history of the United States of America. There are certainly differences that we have seen played out, including the mobilization of the U.S. armed forces, like the military, the Marines, for instance, we've seen down on the southwest border, but they are playing.
And that's funny because I don't remember nobody boo-hooing and crying when Obama was sitting there separating kids from their families, had kids locked up in cages, and deported over 2.5 million doggone illegal immigrants. They still call him the chief of deportation to this day. Ain't nobody, we ain't see none of these boo-hooing and crying at all. And the excuse for that is, oh, he wasn't promoting it on TV and all that stuff. So it's dehumanizing when you promote it on TV. Okay. So if it's dehumanizing when you promote it on TV, why y'all got court shows then? You don't want to see nobody get arrested on TV. Why y'all got court shows then? Okay. But that's neither here nor there.
Limited enforcement roles in these circumstances. And in the interior, though, you have seen agencies like DEA join forces with other Homeland Security agencies like HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, and ICE and ATF. Participate in this type of enforcement action. As you said, there is certainly an effect that's happening here, that people are aware of this, that they're cognizant of it. But what's sort of the larger, story is here is, as I said, and I think it's important to understand and for people to remain cognizant of, it has yet to be written, and these are unfolding on sort of a day-by-day, almost hour-by-hour basis now.
So I want to press and try to deepen my own understanding of what's different other than the production of it. I want to share some reporting about quotas. This is from the Washington Post. ICE officials have been directed by Trump officials to aggressively ramp up the number of people they arrest, from a few hundred per day to at least 1,200 to 1,500, because the president has been disappointed with the results of his mass deportation campaign so far. That's according to 4 people with knowledge of the briefings. Senior ICE officials were told that each of the agency's field officers
Yo, after this, we about to watch a video of Obama and his deportation and his border and his deportation plans.
offices should make 75 arrests per day, and managers will be held accountable for missing those targets. So, I mean, quotas do make it more likely that the thing that people who are here legally, who spoke in that reporting I read from, could get swept up. If you're trying to hit a target in any quota in law enforcement, speeding, anything, you can make mistakes. And I wonder, The reporting is out there that the numbers didn't even match the numbers under the final Biden numbers. And so I wonder if you can just tell me the role that the statistics and the numbers are playing in the policy and a policy of quotas that seems to increase the odds of mistakes being made.
Well, you know, I don't want to use
struggling with complicated content and editing software? I was too. Riverside really simplified things. Riverside makes the entire process easy, from recording to editing to streaming without having to jump from app to app. Everything you need is all in one place.
I don't want to use too strong of language here, but whether or not they're obsessed with the numbers, they have made very clear they want the largest deportation effort in American history. Mass deportation now was what the sign said on the floor of the Republican National Convention. It was an official part of the party platform, a part of the Trump campaign. And they're certainly working hard to create the appearance of that. And like you said, in many respects, this is a production. Dr. Phil was out last night live with Tom Homan, who, when the borders are for President Trump, when he was confronted by our colleague Gabe Gutierrez about whether or not there are actually quotas, he denied that there were. But the numbers have certainly gone up from the day-to-day numbers of the
as they should, because you niggas sat there and you televised the January 6th riot throughout the entire whole damn campaign. So, you know what happened? I would have did the same thing too. I would have been like, since they did that shit, we gonna televise these mass deportations. I would have did the same thing too. Since you niggas sat there and televised the January 6th riot and used that against them throughout the whole entire damn election, I would have did the same goddamn thing.
the outgoing administration, whether or not, and I think this is really important for people to understand, whether or not these numbers that they have made a feature of their Instagram posts and their social media, Twitter posts and stuff, whether or not those numbers stay consistent at this level is a function of how many quote unquote criminals they're going to go after. And if violent criminals, people who pose a threat to society, are their priority, what happens beyond those numbers? Because certainly if you're going to run the largest mass deportation effort in American history, you are going to be picking up people who are everyday civilians in the United States of America who, while they might happen to be undocumented, are also teachers, workers, neighbors, friends, people who are at your church. And that's, I think, part of this story as well, that they have removed the sensitive locations guidance from the Department of Homeland Security. So now undocumented immigrants, and Tom Homan confirmed this to Gabe Gutierrez, could very well be picked up at a school or a church or another location. He says it's a matter of national security, but you don't stage the largest deportation effort in American history without undocumented migrants who don't have criminal histories.
Jacob Seberoff, we're going to need you. Please stay free at 4 o'clock Eastern. Thank you for your reporting on this. And of course, the Trump administration says this is just the beginning, the opening salvo, if you will. They've indicated that one of the next towns that could be targeted could be Aurora, Colorado, where over the weekend, quote, hundreds of community members gathered in the snowy cold Saturday at Fletcher Plaza to protest Donald Trump's threat of mass deportations, a rally that drew as many as 700 immigrants, activists, and allies. Joining our coverage is Democratic Congressman Jason Crow, who represents Aurora, Colorado. First, what are you hearing from your constituents?
Well, Nicole, I represent one of the most diverse communities in the country, right? And I just want to paint a picture for you. This is a community where nearly 20% of my constituents were born outside of the United States. I have 130 languages spoken in my public school system, right? And these folks are business owners. They go to school with my kids. They work in our businesses. They are so much a part of the lifeblood and the strength and the vibrancy of our community, and they are afraid. which is why I'm standing up and I'm being very clear about what we're going to tolerate and what we won't. You know, and I think this is important for every American right now to be really clear about what it is we're dealing with. I haven't heard or talked to anybody who says we shouldn't deport and detain violent criminals, that we shouldn't clean up our streets and keep communities, keep our children safe. Everybody agrees on that, and it's already a crime. What we're talking about is a mass deportation that's rounding up everybody, children, families, business owners. And I would like somebody in the Trump administration to explain to me how doing that is actually going to reduce costs, help our businesses, help our communities, and make us more safe. Because doing that will do the exact opposite, and they know it.
So what is a list of what you will tolerate and will not for your district?
Well, I'm not going to tolerate mass deportation efforts of children and families and people who are striving to start a life here, who want to normalize their status within the United States. We owe those folks comprehensive immigration reform because that's in our best interest of our economy. Right? I spend a lot of time with small business owners. You know, Colorado is a small business state. Aurora is a small business state. 85% of our workers and our businesses are small businesses in my community. Right, and those folks, when I go and visit them, they say their number one problem is workforce.
We don't owe them people shit. They're in our country. We don't owe them people shit. Why can't they go back and make their own country great?
They want to grow their businesses. They can't find enough workforce. So we owe comprehensive immigration reform. That's visas, that's DACA programs, that's providing a pathway to citizenship who are here, who own homes, who are already paying taxes to normalize their status because that's what they want to do. And that's what's in the best interest of our economy. What I won't tolerate and what nobody should is violent criminals, right? Yes, go after violent criminals. It's already against the law. And guess what? We had a bipartisan reform effort in Congress last year that was heavily negotiated between Republicans and Democrats that would have provided more enforcement, would have provided more border security, would have provided pathways to citizenship. Donald Trump blew it up because he'd rather run a campaign on the problem than try to solve the problem. So let's go back to that and actually talk real solutions and come together to solve this issue instead of doing what they're doing and trying to distract America with mass deportation.
See, this is another lie. The reason why they shut down that bill in the first place, because it involved in foreign trade with doggone Ukraine and other international things that does not have anything to do with the border. So here we go with another lie.
Deportations, while at the same time, their billionaires and the cronies and the top 1% are slowly turning our government into a piggy bank for their own pockets.
Now, they had no problems when it was a Democrat oligarchy doing it. You had all the doggone celebrities paid to do it. They had no problems with that, but now all of a sudden we up under oligarchy. Okay. Let's look at this one.
You can't send shit out like that because if you send shit out, it takes a restaurant now. And I don't want to do that. Right, results now 18. Rock and roll. Richard seems to be exercising some quality control. No one's had a black droplets, man. We knew we made a mistake. Nobody asked it.
And that's how you use CRM. Questions? Or you can just move to Monday CRM, a platform to manage all of your sales needs and view your team's entire pipeline in one place. So every rep can easily find even the smallest of details.
I do want to start tonight with something I think is an important baseline for basically everything we're going to talk about. And that is why Donald Trump thinks he won the election.
I went on groceries. It's a very simple word, groceries. Like almost, who uses the word? I started using the word, the groceries. When you buy apples, when you buy bacon, when you buy eggs, they would double and triple the price over a short period of time. And I won an election based on that. We're going to bring those prices way down.
So Donald Trump saying he won the election based on bringing prices down, and maybe he did. But during his first week in office, a period of time where I can tell you presidents typically use their power to make clear what their priorities are and do something about it, he was focused on anything but lowering costs.
Late tonight, President Trump announcing he will issue pardons for the January 6 rioters.
Trump reversing Biden-era immigration policies and declaring a national emergency at the border, where he vowed to send troops.
At least 22 states are already suing over Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship for children of undocumented immigrants. President Trump announcing more dramatic changes tonight, including ending federal government diversity, equity, and inclusion programs.
Friday night massacre. The president firing inspectors general at key government agencies. What happens now that the roles meant to stop waste and abuse are gone?
That's right. Trump had time for all of that. I mean, pardon the January 6 rioters, including the ones who brutally attacked police. He even freed convicted seditionists like Stuart Rhodes, who directed his far-right Oath Keepers militia in formation of the Capitol steps during the insurrection. And on Saturday, just days after leaving jail, Rhodes appeared at Donald Trump's rally in Las Vegas, standing right behind the president and Vice President J.D. Vance. That wasn't by accident, by the way. Trump has also declared war on migrants, trying to end the Constitution's guarantee of birthright citizenship with an order that's already being challenged in court. He's also pushing a series of made-for-TV deportation raids across the country, is the best way to describe them, promoted by allies like television's Dr. Phil, I can't make it up, who embedded with ICE for a sweep in Chicago. The TV optics are not a coincidence. I mean, according to CNN, at least two agencies assisting U.S. immigration officials with the sweeps have told personnel to ensure their clothing clearly depicts their respective agencies in case they are filmed by journalists. Dress appropriately for your immigration raids, I suppose, is what they're saying. Now, on Friday, Trump also fired 18 government watchdogs in a late-night purge, and he's made time patrolling the world with plans for expansion, of course. I mean, from taking control of Greenland and the Panama Canal to threatening to annex Canada still, and attempting to rename the Gulf of Mexico. And tonight, Trump is expected to sign more executive orders to purge transgender service members, while reinstating military members who were discharged for refusing the COVID vaccine. So that's how week one has gone. And it's all classic Trump. This has always been the strategy to overwhelm the media and critics with far-right noise, lots of it. I mean, Trump ally Steve Bannon laid it out very clearly all the way back in 2020.
I said, all we have to do is flood the zone. Every day we hit them with three things. They'll bite on one and we'll get all of our stuff done. Bang, bang, bang. These guys will never be able to recover.
4 years later, that's still the strategy. And guess what? Bannon says it's going great. He told the Washington Post, quote, it's working. It's just stunning to me what they're doing. And it's not getting covered because it's too much. They're overwhelming the system. So yeah, they're going to keep flooding the zone. They're literally telling us that they're going to do that. They'll do a million crazy things, so we can't focus on any one thing, like whether they are delivering on the core promise they made about lowering costs. But the problem with flooding the zone for them is it makes it kind of hard to answer really simple questions about your agenda, like this.
The owner was so broke to sell his house, so he asked me to help him out. I had just 1 week to find out what happened. Listen to this.
There's no excuses anymore. There's so much potential. It's just you can get lost and you're having fun.
And do everything I could to help him. And if he doesn't cut his prices, then listen, well, quite frankly, he's on his own. Fuck it.
You campaign on lowering prices for consumers. We've seen all of these executive orders. Which one lowers prices?
We have done a lot, and there have been a number of executives that have caused already jobs to start coming back into our country, which is a core part of lowering prices. More capital investment, more job creation in our economy is one of the things that's going to drive down prices for all consumers, but also raise wages so that people can afford to buy the things that they need. If you look at our slate of executive orders, no, Margaret, prices are going to come down, but it's going to take a little bit of time, right?
Relax, everyone. It's just going to take a little bit of time. It's pretty weak tea, at least from how I hear from the sitting vice president, for what is supposed to be their number one agenda item. And just to put it all in a little perspective, I mean, Barack Obama campaigns on ending the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. And it took some time, but in his first week of office, that's pretty much what he focused on in every use of power and lever he had. Joe Biden vowed to end the pandemic and bring back the economy from the brink. He spent his first week in office trying to move that agenda forward and telling the country how he was going to do it. Meanwhile, the guy who promised to lower costs for the American people is busy flooding the zone with all sorts of things, as I just outlined, and hosting House Republicans at his...
That's not the only thing he promised, though, you idiot. He got voted in for immigration security, dummy. That's not the only thing he even...
Every kitchen just has to have a chef on it. Since Francesco lost his, you can try.
At his golf resort to discuss how they can cut taxes for rich people. Look, what Trump's actions over the past 7 days have told us is that he really doesn't actually care why Americans sent him to the White House. I hate to break this to all of you. You all know this. In a new letter to Trump that was shared with NBC News, 20 Hill Democrats, led by Senator Elizabeth Warren, blasted the president for his twisted priorities, saying, quote, during your campaign, you repeatedly promised you would lower food prices immediately if elected president. But during your first week of office, you have instead focused on mass deportations and pardoning January 6th attackers. To be fair, the White House is still working on those tariffs they're very excited about, which every economist will tell you will actually raise prices for everyone. And they're still working on those tax cuts to corporations and billionaires who definitely are not worried about the price of your eggs, I promise you. But hey, at least violent rioters are back on the street. He had time for that. Dr. Phil is in Chicago, embedded in a raid, and government watchdogs have been fired. That's the first week. Joining me now is Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. It's great to see you. You have written a lot of letters. I can't wait to see more letters. And there's so much I want to talk to you about, but I just want to talk about what I just laid out, which is this litany of things that Trump focused on last week. You wrote a letter with 20 Senate Democrats, today. And you noted in that letter, there are a lot of things he can do. I mean, he can increase competition. He can deal with price gouging, things that will actually lower costs for people. Makes sense. Sounds great to me. Right. Wish he would do it. And probably everybody watching. But I doubt he will do any of that. Do you have any hope he will do it?
So, look. Either he will do it, which is really good for the American people. There are a lot of folks who are struggling to make it to the end of the month. Prices are going up. Price of eggs, $3.65 last November. The latest I've seen is $4.25. So there's a lot he could do. I hope he does it. But if he doesn't, then it is our job to hold him accountable. And right now, it's about focus. You know, it's just you got one of the words quoted in there. He kept using the words immediately. I will do this immediately when he ran. He said on day one. And it's not only that he hasn't moved the needle, it's that he hasn't even indicated he knows where the needle is or cares very much. And I think that's the part we have to keep bearing down on. His failure to even try to move in the direction of lowering costs is a betrayal of the American people.
I think this is such an important point. He has not used the bully pulpit. He has not used any opportunity to lay out a plan, to speak to it. That should be sticking out to people as well. There was an IG purge on Friday night, and 18 IGs were fired, which is such a significant step. It makes it their accountability. They keep Democrats in control. They keep Republicans. They are not a partisan entity. You posted that Donald Trump is, quote, dismantling checks on his power and paving the way for widespread corruption.
I took that to mean he's going to put his people in place and they're not going to hold to account government like they should. But what did you mean by that?
So it's exactly that. Look, the IGs, can I say this, are really kind of the most boring people on earth. And I mean that in a good way.
We love nerds here.
I
It's okay.
do.
Boring is
Totally
good.
into nerd. Because the whole point is they just make sure you follow the rules. They make sure that when you negotiate a government contract to give away $1 billion, say, of taxpayer money, that you didn't give it to the guy you went to junior high with or one of your big campaign donors. They make sure that everybody in government just kind of stays on the straight and narrow and follows through on the laws that Congress passed and a president somewhere signed into law. You send those guys home, and now you've got these giant agencies with a lot of power. They just do what they want to do. And that signals to me, not just his revenge tour that he's on, it signals to me the direction he wants to go. And that is lawlessness throughout the government. Do whatever Donald Trump wants and whatever Donald Trump's donors want and whatever Donald Trump's friends who are whispering in his ear want. And to hell with what the laws say. We got to put a stop to this one.
It's just pretty much nothing but Trump deranged syndrome. And so we're going to keep going, we're going to keep going, we're going to keep going, we're going to keep going. Let's talk about this food has, never mind. So here go David Pakman over here lying about to make up some bullshit.
Next up is Santa Luso. Second in command, Swindon.
All right, so recently, disgusting Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace put out an excretion on X where she said she would like to see live streams of the ICE raids and deportation raids that are going on under Donald Trump. And her wish has sort of been granted by Dr. Phil, who is now paywalling or putting behind it.
So the first thing to come out of his mouth is that he trying to cash in on the immigration raids. Dude don't know that Dr. Phil has been around since I was a baby. That man probably got more money than David Pakman has subscribers. But what Pakman gonna sit here and say is that he trying to cash in. This man has been doing his show ever since I was about how old? Since I was way before I was born. This man probably got way more money than he can shit out his doggone ass. What is David Pakman talking about? Some more BS again.
An app download video of him going on these raids with Tom Homan and monetizing it for clicks and for attention. Now, I want you to remember, Dr. Phil was on my show and he told me, I'm not really political. I'm not really right wing. I'm just about families and I'm about common sense or whatever. And of course, I pointed out to him in that interview, which many of you found incredibly disingenuous of Dr. Phil, that every aspect of everything he says is just dripping with reactionary sort of underpinning. So, okay, Dr. Phil is going on these raids. He puts out a tweet where he says the first arrest in Chicago with Tom Homan was a convicted sex offender and internet predator from Thailand. For full live coverage of the operation, download the Merit TV app. And then we're going to look at the actual video. Here is Dr. Phil interviewing this individual who has been detained by ICE. Check it out.
What's your name?
Seda.
Seda what? You have a first and last name?
Sam.
Seda Sam?
Yes.
Where you from?
Where I was born or where I'm from?
Where you born?
Thailand.
You been deported before from the United States?
No.
Never been deported?
But I've been in the system before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been charged with
Charged for?
before?
I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna talk about lawyer.
Yeah. Are you a citizen?
My mom says it.
Your mother's a citizen?
Yes.
But you're not?
Nope.
But you've never been deported before?
You Dr. Phil. You look like Dr. Phil.
Yeah? How do you know me?
No, I seen Dr. Phil, you know, on TV.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is an example of sanctuary cities, right? We got an illegal alien convicted of sex crimes involving children. And he's walking the streets of Chicago. Again, the downfall, the problem with the sanctuary city, that people like us walking the street rather than local law enforcement working with federal agents. This is what we're dealing with. Yeah. You've been charged with sex crimes with children?
Not really.
Not really? And never been deported?
Nope.
Huh. Let's take them in and process and lock them up.
Got it, sir. All right. We get our passport. Working on it. Okay.
Watch me walk away, putting my
Okay. So this is downright grotesque, and I want to talk about why. Now, I want to be clear as I get into this. I have never argued, they're not allowed to enforce immigration law. If you're here illegally, you can't be deported. No, listen, if you're an undocumented person, you're subject to deportation, that's legal, all of that stuff. What I have argued is that this way of sort of approaching the issue always ignores the reality that both documented and undocumented immigrants commit crimes at lower rates than natural-born Americans, that entire industries depend on immigrants, documented and undocumented. Of course, we have a process for adjudicating all of these things, and it should be done. But this is the dehumanization aspect, the grotesque, turn this into a show sort of thing. So let me start by addressing the obvious. Exploiting human suffering for entertainment and profit is morally bankrupt. These immigration raids, while legal, are trauma-inducing, life-altering events for the people involved. Families are torn apart.
Again, these the same people talking about dehumanizing. How dehumanizing is it? Y'all wasn't saying shit. Obama was doing the same thing. Shut up.
People are detained, lives are upended, and Dr. Phil is inserting himself into the situations not to help anybody, not to advocate for anything, but to create content he can monetize. And it is a blatant exploitation of very vulnerable people where privileged Dr. Phil is turning human pain into spectacle, and that is completely reprehensible. Now, secondly, this is a complete and total misuse of his platform. Dr. Phil has a massive audience, and with that comes responsibility. Instead of using his influence to educate, to inform, or to advocate for meaningful solutions, he chooses to sensationalize and profit from deeply polarizing issues and people at their most vulnerable. Enforcing immigration law is a complex and nuanced topic. It deserves thoughtful discussion. It doesn't really lend itself, or it shouldn't, to TV-style drama designed to generate clicks and ad revenue. And then thirdly, this kind of media stunt normalizes and glorifies ICE raids. By framing them as entertainment, it only further desensitizes the public to the very real harm that they cause and completely shifts focus away from the systemic issues that are at play. Like, for example, the fact that we need comprehensive immigration reform. It just makes it this voyeuristic experience that's going to get us nowhere. It erodes empathy, and it reinforces the idea that the raids are obviously justifiable, but also entertaining or exciting to watch. Finally, we've got to address the power dynamics here, which are really just dripping with disgusting, it's gross. Dr. Phil is a wealthy, privileged individual who is inserting himself into situations where people have no power and no resources. These are often marginalized folks. It doesn't mean that their crimes should be ignored. That's not what I'm saying. But these are marginalized folks who live in fear of deportation. And now, in addition to the legal problem that they're having, they are being used as props in a media circus. So it's hard to think of a more exploitative and dehumanizing situation. Finally, I am not a socialist, you all know that. This is a clear example of how the profit motive can corrupt.
You not a socialist? That's not how your ass was acting on Piers Morgan. That is not how your ass was acting on Piers Morgan. He is a straight socialist. That is not how you was acting on Piers Morgan. You are sitting there arguing for a person that committed a crime. This is dehumanization. Yeah, whatever.
Corrupt even the most serious issue. We know that when we see all of the crap around abortion and family planning clinics and all of it. But profit becomes a driving force behind how we engage with a topic like immigration. We completely lose sight of the humanity involved.
You want to talk about profit? Let's hear you talk about your ass profiting off of the liberal bullshit that you be saying. You profit off of political commentary and you want to talk about somebody else profiting off of that, okay.
The crap in the kitchen about the
involved. So this is a completely tasteless stunt by Dr. Phil. It reflects broader societal issues, and even human suffering becomes a commodity. How can we package human suffering, make money off of it? And there we go. So I don't know if this crap is going to continue, but it's deplorable. And I encourage you to reach out to Dr.
Don't nobody care what you got to say because you profit off of political commentary in the first place. And then you sitting here talking about some is demoralization, dehumanization, but ain't none of your constituents saying nothing about that shit when Obama did the same thing. This is not the first time that this stuff has happened. This is nothing nothing new. There's nothing new up under the sun. The only problem is when y'all do it, it's okay. When the Republicans do it, it's not okay.
Dr. Phil and to Merit Street Media about it. People in the audience know that I have never had a cat. And so many of my friends have said, you've got to meet my cat. My cat's awesome. And they're always right. And I end up loving the cat. And that's why I love that one of our sponsors today is
I mean, yeah. So you see what this guy's on. He talking about cats and all this other shit. Let's go to the next one. Matter of fact, nah, you know what? That's gonna be it for tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy Black Diamond 31, and I see y'all tomorrow.